world I come from, corporations, what do they want more than anything else? What keeps CEOs up at night? Where am I going to get my next round of talent, right? And not only that, when I go get that talent, I want the best talent, right? If you're starting a baseball team or you're starting a soccer team, do you want the best players or the worst players, right? Think about it for a minute, right? You want the best you can get. So the world I live in is the same way. CEOs of the largest companies in the world want the best that they can possibly find. Well, guess what? The new generation has already said the best people are going to stand in a place where what we do is bigger than who I am. So guess where they have to go to get their new leaders? You see, in a certain way, the Facebook generation, as we call it, now I know for a lot of you, Facebook is old hat, because that's, that really is the next, but no, whatever your new version of it is, your generation is taking stances today that the rest of the world, including people like me that have been around forever, we're listening, we're watching, and we're keying in. And we're saying, this is where the next round of talent's going to come from. And if we're going to get the best of that group, if we're going to get the people that when they walk into somewhere, they come up with a new idea. I'm one of those people. I'm a corporate guy, and someone says to me, we're going to sell this, and we're going to move over here, and we're going to sell it there. And I'm like, that's like shooting down mistletoe in an old back, it's like that. It's the same thing, right? It's like seeing where you can take something and put it together with that, put it together with that. Well, I get all excited, you can tell, right? I get pretty dang excited about that, right? That's exciting stuff. And that's what we do in the business world. In the corporate world, we put ideas together in ways that nobody's ever put ideas together before. That's what we're asked to do. And when you do, it's really cool, right? It rocks. And then when they go out and they actually do it and they make money, it's even better yet. It's like, wow, not only was my idea really cool, but that idea created what it created. Now think about this, if you can take that same idea and you say, I want to live in a world that's sustainable, I want to live in a world that recycles, I want to live in a world with clean air, I want to live in a world with clean water, I want to live in a world where people are humane to each other. I want to see some things differently than I see them today. Those are the values that I carry within myself. That's really what I want to see. Well, if that's really how you feel about your world and the world that's coming, you know what? You can be that way, and you can say, I'm here to do that. That's what I'm going to deliver. And I'm going to go find a spot in the world that I want to be in that allows me to do that too. That's available to you. Why? Because we've got this incredible revolution going on where people are sharing information. And the people are now that want to see that kind of shift in their world, well, they're gathering together. And they're creating ideas, and they're creating companies, and they're creating outcomes that are different than we've ever seen before. And then other people see it, and they go, I want to be with them, right? Look what they're doing, right? So let me tell you a little story. I get a call about 2 months ago, and it's a coach, it's a leadership coach, and she coaches Boeing. That's a pretty big company. Has everybody heard of Boeing? Make airplanes. Okay, you got that. So, and she says to me, I've got this fellow, and what he's done is he's gone down to Peru. Now, I used to live in Peru, and when you read this book, it's full of all my stories. So I used to live in Peru. Cool. He's gone down to Peru, and what he's done is he's buying chocolate, and he's making organic chocolate and utilizing people from the slums in Peru. And those are his employees. And he's giving them health benefits. He's making sure that they have transportation to work, and he's paying them a fair wage. And then he's taking that chocolate and he's distributing it, and they're distributing it in the United States. And it's pure, and it's organic, and it's this really wonderful chocolate, right? They're making chocolate bars. And by making these chocolate bars, they're taking people out of the slums in Peru and giving them an opportunity that they've never had before. Now, we probably need a lot of that here, too, in the U.S. It just happens that he because of where the resources are, they could get it in Peru, so he's trying his little model in Peru. And she says he needs about $18,000, and we're trying to figure out how to get, to get those donations. No problem. I go out, what do? I heard about this thing. I'm going to throw $100 in, right? And I post it. What did I do? Posted it on Facebook. What else did I do? Tweeted it, put it on LinkedIn, put it on Pinterest, right? So it's in all those places. Raised $18,000 in 3 hours. right? 3 hours later, he had $18,000, right? So now he calls me the other day, he says, hey, you know what would be really cool? He says, because, you know, that since this thing has that flavor and everybody knows about it, he said, how much does it cost to make one of your books? Because what I'm going to do is if they buy enough chocolate, you know, I'm thinking we'll buy some books, and if you'll sign them, we can give away a signed author's book if you buy, I don't know, $52 of chocolate. I don't know what the number is. So and I said, sure, I'd be happy to do that, because why? Because I was there at the very beginning, you know. I'm pretty excited about this, right? I got this guy who raised his $18,000, and now there's chocolate. I'm getting chocolate sent to my house, right? Chocolate's happening, right? It really worked. $18,000, and we have chocolate, right? In these cool little wrappers. It's out on the internet. People are buying it, and so when he says to me, hey, listen, will you sign a few books? Your book, by the way, right, with your stories in it, and we can attach it as a premium to the chocolate, right? Heck yeah, let's do that. That sounds like a lot of fun, right? So now I get to sign a bunch of books. Once again, dumb hit from Corona, right? Signing a bunch of books, right, to send out to everybody who gets chocolate from this thing, right? All of that happened because of the way social media happens today, right? Would have never happened. That money would have never been raised. You know, and not only that, just so you know, there was no donation in that $18,000 over $100. So we did it in 3 hours, and not one donation was over $100. Most of them were 50, but not. I think there might have been 6 or 10 of us that put 100 in. Other than that, there was not that, and we were the big dogs. You know, $100. You were a big dog at $100, right? So we raised the money in 3 hours, and that's how it happened. And without this ability that we have to, like, you know, think of what that would have taken me years ago. Can you imagine? Anybody who's my age knows what it takes to go raise $18,000. Heck, we'd have been out there pounding doors for the next 3 months, right, to convince everybody they needed to give us. We wrote this beautiful little story about chocolate in Peru, right? And man, people liked the way the story was written. Who wrote the story? I wrote the story, right? How did I write the story? The same way I told you that story about, you know, being under the sizers in Corona down at the packing house, or hunting down mistletoe out in the old wash on the oak trees. That's just, those are the stories that we come with. And when people feel who we are and what we're about, they stand in that story, and it inspires them, and it makes them find that same thing in themselves. And they say, you know what, I want to be part of this. People always say, well, you're a motivational speaker, and I go, I'm not. I'm not interested in motivating anybody ever. That's crap. I don't care if you're motivated or not. What I care about is when you encounter me, can you find what I have inside yourself, right? Because if you find that, you can find it every day. I can come in here and I can say all sorts of wonderful, fancy stuff, right? You get all excited, you walk out that door and you're ready to go. But when you wake up tomorrow morning, what's it mean? Well, if I'm not around to tell you that same story again, it doesn't mean anything whatsoever. So where's the passion in life lie? It doesn't lie here. I don't have it. Right? You have it, right? And the passion you're feeling when I get going, right, is what you have, right? You're bringing it. I'm not making you impassioned or excited about something. I get him to smile over here. I know that smile's not my smile. I'm not even near that good looking, you know? So you know that's a better, you know, that's his smile, right? That's his passion that he's finding at the bottom of himself. And you know, and if he sits for 2 minutes and thinks, the next morning when he walks out tomorrow morning, he's like, I like how that feels. You know what? I think I'll do it that way today. And if that's what he says to himself, then you know what? He can have that for every day for the rest of his life. All you got to do is dig to the bottom and find it. And you know, and that all comes from this little place that we all grew up in. And it all is aided by this wonderful world we now find ourselves in, where we're able to take who we are, right, and we can put it out there, and we can connect it to people out there, and invite them